And welcome to another edition of the Screen Team on today's talk, 930 KWOC, 93.3 FM, and we're also streaming at KWOC.com. I'm a very lucky man because I'm being joined by two very beautiful women in the studio. We've got Miss Toby and we've got Miss Sabrina J in the studio ready to do some reviewing. Ladies, good to see you.
Good
to
morning.
see us,
Good afternoon.
too.
When is this? What day is this? Where am I?
It's Saturday night.
It's Saturday night.
But it's so daylight out now, it's hard to say.
I know.
Night.
I love it. I love it.
Toby, we had you on the show a while back, and we have you back on again, and we're going to be doing some more, musicals, correct?
Sort of. Music-based.
Okay. Music-based
They're not like
movies.
the musicals we did before. Because
Right.
they're not stopping and singing in the middle of the scene.
These just have really
Right.
excellent soundtracks.
And soundtracks.
Right.
Soundtracks. And kind of the soundtracks I grew up with.
We're doing Footloose, we're doing Fame, and Saturday Night Fever.
All between 1977 and 84.
Yeah.
So right in my prime years.
And all very good movies, too. We're going to get right into it. Let's start off with Footloose, where we're talking about the original one with Kevin Bacon back from 1984.
Sizzle, sizzle.
They just didn't know what they were doing when they remade it.
I didn't even go there. It couldn't touch the original.
No. Their pants weren't tight enough.
I love it. And there's just something about Kevin Bacon,
There's a whole lot about Kevin Bacon.
But he's right there on the screen, and he just played Ren to the hilt.
And he kind of plays, I don't want to say a bad boy, but definitely a character you don't know too much about. He could be bad, he could be good. We don't know too much about him.
He's the kid that moves in from the city to the little country town and wants to change everything.
Kind of like a guy I used to know named Chris Berger, who from St. Louis to Poplar Bluff to change the
Do you
town.
dance?
He didn't change
do I
anything till he
dance?
married me.
Oh, my goodness. All right, tell us about the plot.
Well, like we were talking about, Ren McCormick and his family moved from Chicago to a little Midwestern town. Mm-hmm. And in fact, the little Midwestern town's even kind of backward for our standards. They are extremely Bible Belt, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
And no dancing, no, I guess you could say, no... They don't want anything that is not what they accept. And they don't like different people. They want everybody to fit into a different mold. John Lithgow is the unofficial head. He's the pastor of the church in town. And he is the father of the beautiful daughter.
Yeah, he is.
That Ren falls in love with.
And he does such a good job, too. Man, John Lithgow can do. He's got such great range.
Oh, he does. He can play just about any character and make it believable.
He can play comedy. In this one, he was obviously very strict,
very stern, Bible thumper.
Yeah, he is such a talented
Literally,
actor.
yeah, thump, thump, thump. But he just kind of wants to run the town the way he sees fit, and that's not the way Ren wants to do things.
So Ren moves in from Chicago to this new area, and he's getting little friends here and there. One of his friends is played by Chris Penn.
Chris Penn, who's the comic relief, and Sarah Jessica Parker.
That's right. She was in this.
She was in this movie too.
Yeah.
She was kind of Ariel, the daughter's best friend.
Right.
And once again, you've got to have your comic relief, so you have those two. And the scene with Ren teaching him to dance is just hilarious.
Do you know why that was in the film? Because Chris Penn didn't know how to dance for real.
Well, then he wasn't acting, was he?
He wasn't. He was not. So they wanted to throw in something, I guess, to teach him, obviously, but also show why he wasn't that good in the film. So, all right. So we got the basic premise of this film. Why do you like it so much?
The music. Oh, the music is just fantastic.
Yeah.
Denise Williams, Let's Hear It for the Boy.
Let's hear it
for the boy, right. Yeah. Kenny Loggins, Footloose. It's just one of those feel-good soundtracks. And it's a feel-good movie.
Yeah.
In the end, everybody, comes to accept the outsider and everybody falls in love. And it's just a good feel-good movie. And that's the kind of movies I enjoy.
Yeah. Sabrina, do you agree with Miss Toby here?
Oh, of course. Of course. I was just a young whippersnapper back in the day when I saw Footloose. And, it was at a time period when I was in high school and in Poplar Bluff where you didn't have all those limitations per se. We had dances, but you also didn't have a whole lot of options.
Exactly.
So the dance was a big thing to look forward to. But I can say that watching it as a 40-something and watching it as a 14-something. Your perception of the content really does change.
Oh, it does. You understand.
All of a sudden, you're relating to the grown-ups in the
parents.
town. And you're like, well, I can, not that I condone any type of restraint so far as to say you can't dance in the city limits.
Wasn't the backstory, though, they'd had, some teenagers had an accident and they had all been killed, and that was kind of the catalyst. And it was after the dance, so that was kind of the catalyst.
The problem and the underlying message, because there's always got to be a message,
of course,
is that you can set as many boundaries as you want and pass as many laws as you want, but kids are going to be kids. And it's what you teach them to draw on within themselves that will determine if they're going to do the right thing, not whether or not you pass a law that says they can't stand next to each other and move to the music. It was real easy for the pastor and the people in that small community to rely on each other when that disaster hit, which is all before the movie.
Right.
It's backstory. But you can see that they've all become really, really dependent on what the pastor says.
Yeah.
And so much that he's more powerful than any person in the whole town. And he knows it. He's not necessarily abusive of it.
No, but he is aware of that power.
He says, I have an obligation to protect these people from themselves.
Right. He gets a godlike thing
yes,
going.
And it takes a really great mom who sits back without judgment and says, talk to me and tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what your thoughts are. Don't just get mad and stomp your foot and race off in your car and disappear. You've got to tell people, not just me, but the people you're angry with.
Exactly.
What is it that bothers you? What can you do to fix it? And what can you
She grounded him. She grounded
really
him.
did, and she did it all with her arms crossed, knees up in a chair, and just said, talk to me. And I think that is awesome because, that was the biggest problem between the daughter, Ariel, and the pastor.
Right.
She used to adore him and worship him, literally, because he was her daddy and he was the pastor.
Right.
But she got a wild side in her that was rebelling against everything. And so, the term preacher's daughter was really applicable to this one.
Very much so.
But not so much that she was awful.
Oh, no. She was just being a teenager.
She was just being a teenager.
She was just kind of stretching her wings a little bit. And, and he's dealing with his baby girl growing up, too. And that's some of it also.
Yep.
But,
and his wife, Ariel's mom, again, the voice of reasoning. And in that, what? Come here.
There's a mama. Yeah.
I've got to talk to her son for just a second. Mama says it's okay. And Mama says you can.
What
out of the mouths of babes.
Mama says that you can stop and listen to your kids every now and then.
Every now and then. It's
That's
okay,
right.
and that's what we do as good parents.
The movie is called Footloose, starring Kevin Bacon. Coming up after the break, we're going to review Fame. That's next on Today's Talk, 930 KWOC.